Hello everyone, welcome to Res Snapper. My name's MJ and this is Snapple Pass, where we look at the new cards coming to the game. This week we've got Zombie Mr. Fantastic, who is a 2/2, on reveal, Horde +2, activate, give 4 of your created cards +1 power. In this video we're going to be talking about like deck ideas, all of the mechanics. You can skip to the section that you want using the chapters below, but true legends stay to the end. Let's talk about this guy. I'm very excited to do so actually, because he does loads of stuff and there's lots of interesting things to talk about. Also, I know the lighting is not great. I've had problems with the bloody sun beaming through you know in Mission Impossible where the characters have got just like a strip of light and then the rest of their face is in shadow. That was basically what was happening to me when I had my damn curtains open. It was like, it's not obviously not doing it now. But yeah, it pissed me off, so I had to close the curtains and stuff. Anyway, if you want to buy Zombie Mr. Fantastic, you can do so using your precious resources and 6,000 tokens, or you can open a seasonal Series 5 snap pack. You'll also potentially get the cards that you didn't get from the previous season, along with the cards that have come out so far this season, which includes Headpool and Colonel America. Okay, the mechanics for Zombie Mr. Fantastic. I think he's a really cool card. I think the archetypes is going to fit into maybe like that new activate style archetype with Jocasta, who sort of spearheaded and sort of created this brand new archetype of being able to trigger activate cards multiple times, so you could have other powerful activate abilities like Omega Sentinel and Scarlet Spider. A note on that, to be fair though, if you do consider the fact that the activate element of Zombie Mr. Fantastic is sort of 4 power, if you consider Scarlet Spider is 5 power, Zombie Mr. Fantastic is half the cost for a similar power ability. Now, there is of course the caveat that you need to have played out lots of created cards to get that benefit from Zombie Mr. Fantastic, but there is actually that was weird but there is actually like some crossover synergy between some of these cards. In fact, namely Scarlet Spider and Zombie Mr. Fantastic. That Scarlet Spider clone is a created card. Right, now shout out to my boy Scott Porter. In his Hero Clicks unboxing videos, he says what he's drinking, which is an element that I absolutely love. I've got a food review channel, so there's absolutely no surprise whatsoever that I like that element.
That's absorbing the moisture in the room.
But in the UK, we've just got this new flavour of not sponsored or anything, because, by the way, I don't even like this. But we've got this new flavour of Monster Energy Zero Sugar. It's something to do with... Is it something to do with Formula 1? No. Oh, it's MotoGP. So motorbikes probably is what that is. Rossi, do you know who that is? That's what this is. Anyway, it basically tastes citrusy / tangerine? The little orange things. And also mandarinish. Not my favourite Monster Energy, to be fair. In fact, I barely even like it. I also think that Zombie Mr. Fantastic is going to work in Horde Decks. Would you possibly imagine that I would say that? If we consider the fact that we haven't got that many Horde cards to choose from. Right now, we've got even fewer actually. Right now, we've got Zombie Scarlet Witch. We have got Zombie Giant Man. And then this. And then in the coming days, actually, we are getting the Hunger, which is a skill that will be available through, I think it's through Sanctum Showdown. So that's going to be really key, and we'll see that in the deck, one of the decks that I've got coming up for you. And then towards the end of the season, we've also got Zombie Sentry as well, who feeds into this Horde archetype. And I think all of them are going to work well together. I think he's going to work in shield decks as well because of that created cards element. And also, I have finally given Victoria Hand her own archetype logo here. I've been playing the deck myself recently. Shout out Jake, thank you for the recommendation. I played the deck again. I played against this style of deck so much, but the versions that I've played have always had my own spin on it, whereas I did a bit more of like a meta level Victoria Hand deck, and it's very good. And so yeah, it does feel like a very distinct archetype though, so that's why I made a new logo for it. So this is the first card to have an on-reveal ability and an activate ability, so I think that's really interesting in itself. One of the things that we often say about activate cards is that, oh, you have to play them out early, or you don't get anything if you play them on the final turn. Well, that is not true for Zombie Mr. Fantastic, and in fact, each of the abilities are meaningfully powerful that you won't even feel bad if you don't pull off the activate, for example. The Horde does count as a created card, So it's an eligible target for one of the +1s from his activate ability. And this card is doing a lot of things, so he has a lot of synergies. Now the pros, after revealing, it's a 2/4, which is good because you're getting that on reveal of the Horde, which is +2. But the total power output of all the abilities combined is actually a 2/8. Now the requirement, or not the requirement, but the bonus, or the way to maximise the bonus, is by having 4 created cards out, and that can be a more difficult thing to achieve. Like, it's not an easy thing to achieve is what I'm trying to say. Some cards make it easier. For example, Ultron. The drones are created cards. You could consider that. But, so yeah, I mean, at that level, you actually start to think, would this work in a Patriot deck as well? Actually, maybe I should have listed that as one of the archetypes. So if you think about Zombie Mr. Fantastic, creates a Horde. The Horde has... Actually, is the Horde textless? Yeah, the Horde is textless. So the Horde works with Patriot, and then Ultron works with Patriot, and then at the end of the game you bish ba 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 ba. Yeah, it could actually be decent. If you think about Dazzler, she's kind of a 2/8. Zombie Mr. Fantastic is the same thing. So could be another way for that as like a sort of side point. Anyway, another pro is that he splits power across 2 locations and also makes it possible to reach tough to reach locations like Sanctorum. Yes, that's what I mean to say. Good. And he has the ability to add up to 4 power into a full location, which could be good for surprise plays. For example, you fill a location with Kate Bishop's arrows, you're blocked off, they don't necessarily know how you're going to get extra power in there. Maybe you do something like a Kahori and then a Zombie Mr. Fantastic. It could happen. And then the cons, though, not all great. He does have low base power, so it might not be good if your Horde location is already cooked, or you can't Horde, or you know they've got a Shadow King, anything like that. He is unreliable. You can't control where the additional power goes if you have more than 5 created cards. Lol. Because I've put lol because it's obviously not super likely that you're actually going to have... It's not super likely that you're going to have more than 5 created cards. I mean, you might. But even if you do, you can't control where that power goes. And then really, this is probably the biggest con. This is like the 9th Mr. Fantastic in the game, so people might think you're cringe if you play this card. Right, let's talk about the counters though. So, as he is a Horde card, Shadow King can reduce the Horde's power to 0 at the end of the game, which is obviously a big swing. Not only that, but Shadow King can also reset any of the plus powers that have been given to your cards at the location that Shadow King is played. Gorgon might also be one to consider. If you're playing Zombie Mr. Fantastic, you're probably playing some form of created cards alongside him. I mean, you might not be, but you might. And then Cobra. This was a big miss for me that I didn't mention this in my previous Horde related videos, but Cobra can destroy the Horde. So this is like the best month ever for Cobra, and maybe the first time for him to shine. Also, by the way, this variant for Cobra, I don't know how it's coming, but I need it. This variant is absolutely incredible, and this variant is the card that is the thing that would make me play Cobra. I barely played him. I might have put him in a deck once. I can't remember if I have. Anyway, the synergy is always more fun to talk about, and I say that every time. I actually don't like that I say that every time, and the thought goes into my mind, and then by the time I've said it, I'm like, I didn't even want to say that. I don't like that I say that. And now you'll know every time you hear it, you'll know that I think that, and so I might grimace or something. And in those future times where I say that and then I grimace, you'll know why I grimaced. I think Maria Hill could be a good synergy because Maria Hill creates a created card in your hand. I also think, crucially, Kate Bishop, aka Hawkeye, could be a good one too. These two together both create cheap created cards, and I think that might be one of the things that actually works. It is one of the key strategies with Zombie Mr. Fantastic. It's actually getting down cheap created cards. Another one might be Mirage. Getting down these cheap created cards so you can maximise the benefit from Zombie Mr. Fantastic. Of course, you can't just rely on doing that alone. The +4 power that Zombie Mr. Fantastic is giving them is not enough to just want to play created cards. So you want to do stuff like Victoria Hand with him as well, probably. I haven't put the Horde cards here, like the Hunger, the upcoming card, the Hunger, Zombie Scarlet Witch, etc. But it goes without saying that those are going to be good synergies with him as well. And I thought Bastion might be a great one as well. Again, this ability to create cheap created cards, But also, Zombie Mr. Fantastic is a fantastic target for Bastion as well. He just holds a lot of value within him, and getting a second one probably feels really good. Right, let's talk about the decks. First one I've got for you is called Mixed Martial Farts. This is actually like a premium style deck. I had trouble sort of creating... I mean, listen, I don't think you need to lean into the Horde stuff with Mr. Fantastic, Zombie Mr. Fantastic, but you obviously get more benefit if you do lean into that sort of stuff, even though the second deck that I'll feature isn't about that. But in any case, I just haven't featured a budget deck this week. So yeah, a massive apologies that I haven't got a budget deck for you. Cut some of the cards in this Horde deck, basically, to be honest. But anyway, this is a Horde style deck. So we've got a Whack-in Torres sort of route here, JTF route, with Hunger working well with him. Really well, actually, because the Hunger doesn't take up a space, and... yeah, gets like +6, which is great for 1 cost. It's a hood. It's a demon. That's the equivalent of a demon, basically, isn't it? Speaking of demon, you've also got the hood in here as well. You've also got Hawkeye Cape Bishop that can also benefit from the Whack-in Torres Falcon if you get like the basic arrow, which is normally a bit of a stinger. Don't play the acid arrow there. You don't want it coming back to you. Then we've got some Silky Smooth style of stuff, which I think goes somewhat hand in hand with Horde style decks. So Angela and Hope Summers, and then our sort of end game finishers are Zombie Giant Man, who can get really nice and big with all of the Horde cards in here. Infinity Ultron is obviously created cards, so you could go down that route, and then Gilgamesh could be another particularly good one if you've got cards like your Horde out and the bonuses from Zombie Mr. Fantastic on anything like some arrows. Angela can get buffed, Zombie Giant Man can get buffed. Yeah, you might actually have a decent number of buffed cards, and just having a big thing that can get up to, what, 15, 16 power could be pretty cool. The next deck is called Hand and Shield. This is pretty much basically just a Victoria Hand deck, really. So we've got Victoria Hand in here. You can copy Victoria Hand with the likes of Frigga and Bastion, or Moon Girl and Moonstone. A few ways to copy cards. Other key cards that you might want to copy does include a Demon from the hood again, a Miraged card, even a Zombie Mr. Fantastic. You can play them both down on turn 5 and get the benefit. Yada yada yada. Pretty simple stuff. There we go. Star ratings. I think overall he is a 4-star card. I think he seems absolutely solid as hell to me. From a fun perspective, I do think he's above average. I think he's 3.5. I think it might be pretty fun to send out all of that power and also create a horde as well. I think generally speaking, the horde is, like, hoarding is quite a fun mechanic. And then for the archetype, I'd say 4 stars. I think he's meaningfully adding strength to a handful of decks, honestly. So from a competitive standpoint, I actually do think we'll see him. I think there's almost this element of like a Surge or Mr. Fantastic First Steps element to him that he might fit in a lot of decks. So I think we'll see him everywhere. Not quite as well embedded as those two, but yeah, sure. And before I come on to my actual Snap or Pass rating, I wanted to highlight this comment from Senpai... Excuse me, what the... Brilliant. I wanted to highlight this comment from Senpai919. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of how he rates cards. He likes the card, but he will pass on it. So this was a really fair challenge. Basically, I'd kind of gotten into the habit with my Snap or Pass ratings of considering all of our limited resources and how difficult it is to acquire new cards and all the considerations that we have to make. And so I was tending to only say that a card was a snap if I thought it was really, really good. And even if it was just a good card, I was saying basically like it's not good enough. Because it's not mind-blowingly good, it's not actually good enough to go in for and spend your precious resources. But I have basically, this comment has basically made me change my mind. So I do think, with that in mind, that Zombie Mr. Fantastic is a snap. Now, actually, that was somewhat disingenuous because I actually think I would have given him a snap anyway. But I think I might change my ratings going forward, and yeah, and just say basically, is it like above average? Is that kind of contradicting even what I just said? Basically, if I actually think it's a good card, maybe I'll give it a snap. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the comments. Let me know. Thank you very much for watching. If you got this far, I always say I copy Harry Perry here. Leave a watermelon. I don't know if I'll ever change that, but yeah, that's the thing for now. My nose is a bit itchy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.
God, it's hotter than the sun.